there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. Today I have a really I don't know what I'm saying. Today I have a fun lineup of some crafts to do. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we're working on Farmhouse home decor crafts, a little spring, and a thrift flip. So let's get started with project number 1. For this project, we're going in with the thrift flip first, and I'm going to be using this canvas I got at a thrift store. The first thing I want to do, obviously, is I want to remove the hanger because we'll use that again, and I want to get the canvas and everything off. I tend to look for these at thrift stores for the frames, and you can feel along the front side, you know, if it's a really kind of cool frame or not. You can feel how it indents in and everything here like this. So off camera, I do like to remove all the staples and everything. Here it is all done. And then, of course, we have to add something to the inside. So I just had my husband cut this board. It just fits the back. It has to lay on the outside. And it will add a little thickness, but of course works just fine. Now, I don't want the outside be plain. Of course, I want to take Waverly Antique Wax mixed with water to give it a stain, and I don't want to go with black on the inside. I thought about it, but I'm going to go ahead and paint it with Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Drop Cloth. So mix that antique wax with water. You can add as much water as you want. Makes it lighter or darker, and it goes a long way instead of buying like stain from a store, of course. And then now here I am. It takes 2 coats of the drop cloth to kind of cover that back. Yeah, I did think about just leaving it black. I wouldn't have to paint it, but it's kind of shiny looking, and I wanted it to look like we did a little something to it. So a couple of coats, of course, and then we'll distress it here in a little bit. Now, I wanted to show you, anytime I do PDFs or anything like that for you all, I do it in my Cricut program, and I didn't know if you would be interested in this part of it. I'll show you a little bit of how I got this and to cut it. Of course, I design it in my Cricut program, and then I take a snapshot of it. And then I bring it into my Xtool program here, and what I do is I edit the image. So I highlight it down here in the lower right. You'll see the arrow where it says Edit Image, and then I click all the background out of it. I got to take that white around the background and in between the letters. Really easy. It works wonderful this way, and you know, I don't have to do a bunch of stuff. And then I come back down to the bottom again, lower right. The yellow arrow says Trace Image. I've highlighted it. I'll hit Trace and Save, and then as I pull that down, now it's traced my image, and then I can size it to the size I designed it in Cricut Design Space. And then, of course, I go ahead on the right side and I hit all the settings and everything that I need to do to send it to the Xtool M1 machine and cut it out. And here it is doing that. I will have links down below to the Xtool M1 machine if you're interested in that. Okay, it's a really great machine. Nice investment. I love it. It sits right here to the left on my craft desk, and I use it all the time. Now, everything's cut out. Let's move to painting my letters. I like to just spray paint it. And I like this Rust-Oleum Camouflage brand because it is nice and matte. And I know you can buy matte or chalk spray paints, but these cans have a little bit more paint in them. All right, now I'm coming in and just distressing the frame. I did film distressing the back, you know, where we put our quote and everything, but mostly all you got in view was my sweater because I stepped in front of the camera, so you just get to see me doing this part. And also, I went ahead and cut this little piece of craft wood, slat wood from Dollar Tree. It's about 5 1/4 inches or so. I'm going to use that as well. I just cut it with my VEVOR mini table saw. I'll have that link down below for you. And I'm just going to paint around the edges and a little bit around the front perimeter because we'll glue this onto the sign. I wanted just something a little bit more that pops up besides the wood that we cut with our, you know, Xtool laser machine. And then I'm going to use 2 papers here that I think matches nicely with the coloring I'm going to use. I'm going to sew around these papers, but before I do that, I want to add a little more texture with the open end of my scissor blades and scrape along the edges. It kind of roughens up that paper, as you can see here. And this is, you know, optional. Here it is sewn. I just did it off camera. This is optional as well. But if you want some little sewing lines, you're not a sewer, you can take just a Sharpie fine marker and make little dash lines. Now we're going to use our VEVOR heat press machine, and we are actually going to use heat transfer vinyl here. It works great with the heat press machine, and what I love about it is it actually looks like it's kind of melted into the paper, whereas you've just used a permanent or removable vinyl, it looks like it's sitting on top. So I do about 250 degrees, 25 seconds to start out. Most things will say 225 seconds, but I found that it didn't stick as good. Even though I still have to do it twice, 250 degrees, about 25 seconds, and I don't hardly move it around as you see here. This is my second run through going on here. A lot of people say move it around. I found I didn't have to do that with this VEVOR tool, and once I pull it off the second time, it just lifts right up. And like I said, it really does look like it's melted into the paper. Now what I'm doing is I'm laying down the whole quote that I'm going to iron. Yes, I've just pointed out that I did distress it. I'm laying down the whole quote because I'm going to iron this part onto our board as well. And I left the fall in love there because it helps me line everything up. And while I'm waiting for my heat press to warm up, I went ahead and glued down that paper onto the board that we painted. And again, I'm doing about 250 degrees here, 25 seconds. I go through it twice because that works best. A lot of the videos I watched, they used a mini iron, 200 degrees, they moved it around. And as I practiced, because I wanted to see what worked best for me, I literally found the 250 degrees, 25 seconds, run through twice, don't really have to move the heat press around, and it lifts right up just like this. Now, once this is on and secure, I'm going to go ahead and glue down the woodwards. I'm going to use this Gorilla Glue. You could use Gorilla Glue, you could use Super Glue, you could use, the Fabri-Tac glue. I just wanted something with a little bit thinner tip, and I'm only going to glue down this first word because it does take some time, and, I think if I show you that I'm gluing down the first word, you're going to know how to glue down the rest of it. As I put it on, I do try to kind of wipe off the excess with my fingers so it's a nice thin layer. You could wipe it off like a little Q-tip or something like that, but otherwise it kind of does leak around the edges, and that drives me nuts when that happens. So just showing you a little bit here, and then of course we'll move on to our next part. And of course our next part is to actually glue down this fall in love part here, so we're going to get that glued right into position. All right, and I think I did forget to mention, but I did remember here, I do have a free printable for you. The link will be in my blog in case you want to just, if you don't have electronic cutting machine, you want to just print it out, onto paper and make kind of a sign with it. And of course, I'll have the fonts down below if you just want to do it yourself. Now, it needs something, and you all know if it needs something, I'm going to, take a little paint. This, of course, is some black paint mixed with water, my fan brush. I'm going to tap the fan brush and add a little bit of splattering around it. And I think that just really kind of sets it off a little bit. It just gives a little bit of texture without being too in your face, because I wanted this to have, rest at the top, but have, the quote down near the bottom. And so this was my solution to at least put a little bit more of texture at the top. And I like to add a little bit to the frame as well. It looks, like we did it on purpose, of course, which I did. Now I'm using this Beacon Power Tack glue. It's going to be just fine. I don't feel the need to add, any nails or anything on the back. I'm going to set the frame into position here. That's going to work perfectly. I'm going to let it dry for a few minutes. And you all know I want to finish off the back. I found these, peel and stick at Dollar Tree. I thought this size was going to be enough, but it wasn't. It was a little bit bigger than I thought. So I'm actually cutting 2 down, peel and stick. It looks really nice. It's easy to do. I hadn't seen just black peel and stick before, but I went to a Dollar Tree out of my area and saw just this plain black, because you all know I usually finish it off with some cardstock, but this was really easy, worked perfectly. Now this first time, as I put this first section on, I had to really sit and rub out the bubbles a little bit, but I got it. But the second time, as I put it on, I kind of squeegeed it down as I, put this layer on. And I tried to make it so that the seam went right down the center, since I had to use 2 pieces, of course. But I think it turns out fine. Looks finished off. And then, of course, once this is done, we'll go ahead and add our picture hanger onto the back here. We'll take a look at the final results at the end. But that makes this project complete. Before we move on to project number 2, what do you think about picking a winner for the 9x9 portable heat press from VEVOR? Good luck, everyone! So I'm going to show you my process here. I have to go to my channel first, and I have to get the link to my video. And then I'm coming in on the YouTube comment picker, and up here on the right-hand side, I paste my link. And then I come down right here. It says comment replies and filter duplicate users. I click on those, all right? And then I come back down to the bottom here, and I have to do a little "you're not a robot" thing, and then I click on get YouTube comments, and it counts how many we had, which is 240. Then I'm going to scroll down and come down here to the left side, and I'm going to hit this start button here momentarily. Here we go, and it's going to cycle through all the people and pick a winner. And Nancy, you are the winner of the 9x9 portable heat press. Now, Nancy, there is an address, an email address in my description box. I need you to email me with your street address. It cannot be a P.O. box, and I will in turn forward that on to the VEVOR rep, and they will get that heat press out into the mail to you. Congratulations! Now, just a couple more thoughts. I will hold open this for one more week at my next video, and if I don't hear from you, Nancy, I am going to have to draw another winner, so please see this and contact me. Now, for those of you that didn't win, I am going to talk again about these VEVOR heat presses. I am advocating for them. They are awesome. They are lightweight. I don't even know what descriptive words I can use, but I do know that like these heat presses, both of them run under $100, and some of those well-known brands run $200 to $300 in the same sizes. So if you want to get one, this is the brand to get. It's awesome. I will have links down below for you to go through for the 9x9 and the 10x12 that I use, as well as the mini table saw that I used in my first project. With that said, let's move on to our spring project number 2. For this project, I'm using some of this fabric you can pick up at Joann's. I'm using some of this, 100% cotton Waverly fabric you can get from Walmart. And then these are a little bit different. I went through the thrift store, and I went into the clothing area because I wanted some, corduroy fabric. So I found these pants, a great color, and then I found this like cute little floral jacket, also corduroy. Picked them up for a couple dollars each. We're going to use some batting here as well. And then I decided to add in, this is like some canvas, heavy duty canvas fabric at last moment, and I'll show you all that in a minute. I will have a free pattern for you on my blog, link in my description box. I know the BLM looks funny. The L is upside down to fit it all onto one sheet. And then, of course, the flower and the flower center. Okay? So you just download, print that out, ready to go. And I think this is a really cute garland or banner, whatever you want to call it. All right, so here's the canvas I decided in last minute. I've cut 5 of them, and they are a 7x7 size, okay? 7x7. The next up is this kind of padded fabric from Joann's. This is about 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. I wanted that canvas in the back because I decided I just wanted a little bit of shadow around it. The fabric from Joann's just looked a little plain. And then this is that Waverly fabric from Walmart, and I cut that down to 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. So you've got a little bit of shadowing between the 3 layers. I've got my 3 letters cut out of those corduroy jeans, and each of them have 2 pieces of batting plus the fabric. And then I've got my flowers cut out of that cute jacket, 2 pieces of batting, the fabric, and then the flower center, 2 pieces of batting and the fabric, that same corduroy jean material as the letters. And this is what it all looks like, of course, spelling out the word bloom. So for this top part, I wanted to show you some options here. This is the way I thought it would look good, but you could not have that piece on the top and just lay it right down on your initial fabric, or maybe you don't even want that shadow on the bottom, okay? I just wanted to give you options. Or maybe you want a little shadow around it, but you want to cut it close to the flower or cut it close to the letter. So a lot of different ideas for you, okay? But I wanted mine more square from the bottom up to the top. So everything's set out and ready to go. Now, if you're a gluer, Beacon Fabri-Tac glue or hot glue, your part is easy, okay? You're basically going to glue all your letters together, whichever fabrics, batting, or whatever you want to do. And then you're going to wait till us sewers are done to connect your banner pieces together. For the sewers, I'm going to go around. I'm going to do a layer at a time. So letters, I'm going to go around onto that first piece of fabric. The flower, I'm going to sew around the center first and then put the flower flower onto that first piece of fabric, and then of course sew around the flower itself onto that. And that first piece of fabric again is that 100% cotton Waverly fabric from Walmart. It's kind of like a duck cloth, but a little bit lighter, you know, in weight, I guess. All right, so here I am just kind of sewing down the flower center and then the flower onto that first fabric here. Just showing you a little bit of that. And like gluers, like I said, you're just sitting here waiting. Now gluers, if you want to glue but you want sewing detail and you love to hand sew, oh my gosh, add some hand sewing stitches like the center of the flower would be super cute. And then I'll show you later where else you could kind of add hand sewing with like needle and thread, or needle and like a crochet thread that you can get at Walmart or something like that would just really add in some cute country goodness. And then of course here I am now sewing around, you know, one of the letters. Of course I'll do everything else off camera, but I think this just adds a little something something to it, of course. And the thread I'm using pretty much matches, you know, the colors I'm doing here. I want it to kind of blend in a little bit, and this is what it looks like all the way done. And you can see my sewing isn't straight by any means, but I think that gives it a fun country look. Here's what the letters look like. Perfectly cute. Now the next thing I'm going to do is now we want to get what we just sewed onto our next fabric here, and I'm just going to sew all the way around those squares. Now here, non-sewers, if you want to add that, or sewers, maybe you don't want to, you know, machine thread it, but you know, if you do like the center of the flower with that country stitch, then go around that first square with that country stitch would be a really cute contrast. So of course I'll show you a little bit here going around just that square. I'm about a 1/2 inch seam allowance here. Again, looks really cute. And again, you might want to call it done here, but of course I like to add that little shadowing on to the back. And here's what this part looks like. You can see how that is. And now off camera, I'll do the shadowing, but I'm only going to go around 3 sides. I'll sew to that shadow back because that top's going to be covered with our top of our ribbon. And here is the top of our ribbon I decided to use. It's a 2-inch wide ribbon. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. Thought it was really cute. So basically what you're going to do, I'm going to go about 7 inches in from each end. This is going to make our loop. So right about that 7 inches, you're going to lay your pieces on, okay? And gluers, if you are a gluer, you're going to glue all the way underneath your banner pieces, all the way across, okay? And then you're going to glue all the way on top as well, and then fold your ribbon over, or you can use like a 2-inch strip of fabric, and make sure you glue really well in between your banner pieces so it's got nice stability. All right, now, and I'll show you in just a second how much spacing I have between the letters. Here we are. 3/4 inches or so. You could put as much spacing as you want. And then because I'm going to sew this, I'm just, you know, finishing up pinning everything here to get it into place. All right, get the last letter pinned. And then, of course, I'm going to go 7 inches out from the end of that last letter. And then I'm going to cut that off. Okay, now when I sew this, I'm going to go around, let me get this last part pinned in here, around the top, all the way across, and then down across the bottom, all the way across. And then, of course, come back up to the end where I first started sewing. So here I am just showing you a little bit of it first. And, of course, you can sew it however you want to sew it. This is just kind of the way I do it. But, you know, actually I start at the bottom, go up and around the top, but it doesn't matter what order you go in. Here I am kind of turning the corner and coming back around again. It just adds a nice touch, and it makes sure by going across the top and across the bottom, I've got everything in nice and secure. And I will show you one more thing that I do here. I don't show you on camera, of course. It's nice and easy, but it adds a little bit more stability. Okay, get this finished up, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, here we've got it. Now what I do across the top of my banner piece, see how I come down here? And I do about a back stitch about 3 or 4 times on both sides. And that allows it for in between the letters, it doesn't move so much. Like I said, it gives us that stability. Now on the end, we've got our 7 inches. I'm going to fold it over about 3 inches. You could fold it to the front, okay? Or, of course, what I like to do, and if you're a gluer, go ahead and glue that, but I like to fold it to the back side. but however you want to do it. And again, if you're a gluer, go ahead and do that. And then once that's done, I like to add a little button detailing. So if you're a gluer, you can thread through the center if you want and then glue that on, or just glue it on without adding anything. Again, to the back side on this other side, I'm going to sew up and down that first, and this is what it looks like. And I backstitch about 3 or 4 times, just make sure it's nice and strong to hang. And then, of course, I'm going to just use a little bit of thin twine that I have here, and I'm going to thread through the buttons, needle and thread, just to give it that little extra detailing. But again, if you're a gluer, you can do this beforehand, right? And then just glue it on. And I do that sometimes too. I don't even sew all the way through, I just glue it on. But I do like to have something in my buttonholes, but you know, that's optional. And then of course I'll tie it off at the end, cut off the excess. And then of course I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now this banner, when completed, is about 48 inches in length. So not too long, not too short, probably just the right size for somebody. But that makes this project complete. So I hope you enjoyed both of these projects. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite. I'm going to make it nice and easy because you know I say the same thing every single week. I've got to come up with something new. But as I always say, again, every week, why monkey with tradition? Please give this video a thumbs up. And if you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another video from me. Remember, I will have all the links down below to everything I discussed previously in these 2 projects, as well as our winner picked for our 9x9 portable heat press giveaway. Please, you have 1 week to get me your mailing address, okay? Really want to get that done for you. And again, of course, I do want to thank VEVOR for sponsoring that giveaway. Now, before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. You may often feel like you're just a small person existing in a small space of this world, but guess what? You aren't just a small person at the address you live, nor are you faceless or nameless person in a crowd of people, if you feel that way sometimes. You are a person that Jesus knows by name. You are someone he will always carry in his heart. He will always listen to you, no matter where you live or no matter what you've done. In his eyes, you are important. Your life is important. Your heart is important. So that makes your needs important. Sometimes, though, as you pray, it feels like your words stop at the ceiling. You try many times to offer up your requests, but still nothing. So you stop praying about it. You might even dare think that your prayer isn't important enough or that Jesus has bigger things to think about. But here's the thing. Jesus does care. He hears you right where you're at, and it's not about the words you say or the intensity of your feelings. It's about the faith in your heart. You need to be vigilant in your prayers, be strong without hesitation, and present your request to God, no matter how long it takes or how many times you keep repeating the same words, because God alone has the power to deliver you from whatever you are facing. You must allow your faith to stand up and endure with persistence, making your requests known to Him. Be bold with your prayers, but remain respectful and tender-hearted, and trust in God's sovereign power over your life. Be persistent in presenting your request to God allows you to draw near to Him. It allows you to lean on His strength. It allows your faith to increase, and it allows your hope to find His peace as you wait for Him to answer you. Don't allow the enemy to tell you aren't good enough, or that God doesn't care, or God is too busy for you when the answer doesn't come as quickly as you want. The enemy always wants you to doubt that God will ever help you so that you stop praying, but you must never give up your hope. You have to keep fighting and leave nothing unfinished. End the lies of the enemy with the presence of Jesus as you pursue all that He has for you. God will not fail you. Listen to Him and allow Him to guide you in your circumstance, no matter how long it takes. God is just allowing His perfect plan to give you the future and the hope that He desires for you. So as you wait, allow His heart to comfort you. Let His unending love and faithfulness draw near to you as you draw near to Him, right where you stand, in your small but meaningful corner of life that God has blessed you with. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.